Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Teal Garcia, and on this channel we talk about everything photography related. So if that is something that you are interested in, please hit that subscribe button. We would love to have you here. So I have tried to film this video a few times now. If you have watched any of my other videos, I've mentioned it before, I'm not a techie person. I'm not the person that like knows all the numbers and why things work and how things work. Like I just kind of do things. I kind of go with the flow. But I did want to talk about, because I got a new computer, I did kind of want to talk about it. It's come up a lot in a lot of forums that I'm in, and just even like friends that I know, like, oh, it's just at the end of the year for Christmas or for the beginning of the year now, people have gotten their cameras and now they're like, oh, well, what do I edit on? I really need a computer. Well, I don't really know a lot about computers, but I can tell you about the computer that I got and kind of the things that I was looking for in a computer, if that makes sense. So just to kind of be helpful, this is a very non-techie review or like discussion, I guess. Okay, and just to put it out there, like first and foremost, I am not a set brand kind of person. So I'm not the person that has to run out and buy a new Apple because photographers use Apple products and I have to edit on a MacBook or I have to edit on an iMac. I'm not that person. Like it's more about the specs and the price for me than like you're only cool if you have a MacBook. Which I do have. I have a MacBook that I actually really don't like, so I did not go MacBook. So if you're here to hear a review on how one more photographer got a MacBook, this is not for you, because I did not get a MacBook. I actually ended up getting a Dell. I ended up getting a XPS 17, which I've only had for a few days, but so far so good. When I started to look for computers, I wanted something with a lot of RAM, and I know there are other things that are important too that we'll talk about, but I know for the multitasking that I have to do as a photographer and as a person who now edits a lot of video, I needed RAM. RAM helps things move smoothly and quickly and lets you multitask. I can edit a video and then I can go from Lightroom to Photoshop with, thumbnails while my video is still like uploading or downloading, whatever. So RAM was super important. I've had a few different computers with a lot of different RAM options. My first computer only had 4 gigabytes of RAM and everything worked. I was just using Photoshop at the time and it was very slow. I could get things done, don't get me wrong. I could definitely get things done, but I couldn't get things done very quickly. It was really hard to learn Photoshop on a very slow computer. So that one had 4 gigabytes of RAM, and then I upgraded to one that has 16 gigabytes of RAM, and that's actually the computer that I've been using for like 4 or 5 years now. So, and it's a great computer. It's also a Dell. But I think what had happened was it wasn't doing, 16 gigabytes of RAM wasn't doing what I needed it to do for video editing. So I could still edit photos. Programs would take a little while to kind of populate, if I opened up a new program, but for the most part, like, it was still getting the job done until it came to video. So that was more so the reason for me to want a upgraded computer, was for video. So if you need a new computer and you're looking and you're wondering how much RAM you need, 16 gigabytes of RAM if you are just editing photos is great. It's perfect. There really wasn't an issue. It's just kind of, it was turning out to be like a little bit outdated also, but as far as like a new computer with 16 gigabytes of RAM, like, that's great. I also have a MacBook. I have a MacBook Pro that has 8 gigabytes of RAM on it, and I had purchased that to be like a travel computer, and I wasn't like a huge fan of it. So my daughter uses it now for her online school, so thankfully we had an extra computer for that. So it works great for that. It works great for all that. But when it comes, that 8 gigabytes, when it comes to editing, when it comes to going from Lightroom to Photoshop, or like downloading my photos from my card into Lightroom, it's kind of slow. Like, again, like if I needed it for travel, like if I had to travel or had to edit on the go, I could. It just isn't my it's not my jam. Like, and it was expensive, and it really, like, if you think about what's in that Apple computer, so it's got like 8 gigabytes of RAM, like 258 gigs of storage. I'm not really sure what else. Again, it was expensive. Like, it was around the same price as like my Dell with 16 gigabytes of RAM and I think a faster processor. Again, I don't really know. To me, you get more for your money when you explore outside of Apple. So yeah, I mean, again, if I needed to use that computer, for its intended purpose to like edit on the go, which I feel like people do that all the time. People are like, oh, what if I want to edit on the go? What do you guys use for that? Nobody really, it's rare when you need to edit on the go. Like, let's be real. Like, it's not really a thing. So, I mean, unless you are like a super traveling person, but even that, like, when you could edit once you get back to your hotel room, like editing on the go is not really like, it's not really a thing. Checking my email on the go, sure, but I can do that on my phone. So anyways, I've had experience with both Apple and Windows. And so when it came down to buying this new computer, I wanted something with a lot of RAM. I wanted something with a SSD hard drive, so it doesn't have a disk spinning or anything. It's just solid. I wanted something that had a really good graphics card because, as you know, with like video and stuff, like you want your graphics card to be able to keep up. And a lot of people will mention, like, my old Dell computer is actually a gaming computer, so it had a really good graphics card, but something about the screen on the older Dell, I couldn't calibrate it. Like, no matter what I did, it always was like a cool color. Like, I could calibrate it and then it would like somehow change. I don't know. Like, I've used calibrators. I could not for the life of me calibrate that screen for nothing. And I think it's just the kind of screen that it was, I don't know, there was something about it and it drove me nuts. So I have always used an external monitor to edit on. So an important thing for me in getting this new laptop, I really wanted a laptop that I don't have to use this external monitor. I still love my external monitor, don't get me wrong. It's like 27 inches, it's huge. I can like get in there and like see everything I'm doing, which I love. But if we go back to talking like on the go, so we are a military family, we move a lot. If we go visit family, it's usually like a week or two trip. So not necessarily editing on the go, but I couldn't edit on that laptop without my monitor. So if we were on a trip or when we moved to Hawaii, I had my laptop in the hotel room with us, but I really couldn't edit on it very well. I knew that everything was going to look cooler on the screen, so I wouldn't warm everything up, and I could like kind of figure it out, but it really wasn't like fun to do. So it was very important to get a screen that could be calibrated or like came out of the box like looking pretty good, which I know that's why a lot of people like Apple, is because of the Retina displays. But again, I didn't really want to go with Apple. So I went with this XPS 17. It's like 9700, I think, is the model number. I ended up getting the one that has 64 gigabytes of RAM. It's an i9 processor. I think one of the best video cards you can get right now. I don't know, whatever the highest one that you could get. It has 2 terabytes of the SSD hard drive, so it's all solid in there. I know they sell some that have some part solid and part disk, but this one's all solid. And the screen is looking pretty good. So all I could do right now, I haven't calibrated it yet. I don't have anything to calibrate it yet. But just looking at the screen, so having that screen open next to my big monitor, and the other computer plugged in, it looks pretty good. Like, it looks pretty all right. I will probably play with it a little bit. Like I said, I've only had it a few days, but can I just say that this thing is fast? Like, this computer is fast. And it's beautiful, and it is a creator's laptop. Like, the XPS computers are made for creators, so they are intended to be used for video and Photoshop and Lightroom. They're intended to be that way. I am still going to play with it a little bit more before I give like a full like review on it, but I do have to say, so I've worked up to this computer. So if you kind of are looking for a new computer and you're getting intimidated by cost, you don't have to get that computer. Like, this new computer is a beast. Like, the specs, definitely, I shouldn't have to buy a computer again for like 10 years. Like, there's no reason why this should go out of date anytime soon. But you don't need that. If that's, I'm not saying you have to go out and spend this crazy amount of money on a new computer. However, there are a few things you should look for when you get a new computer, and obviously that's RAM. We talked about, I wouldn't say getting less than 16 gigs is okay. If you're doing very, very light editing, possibly Lightroom only, you could get away with a 8 gig, but like, I wouldn't unless you absolutely had to, unless that getting an 8 gigabyte is already like maxing out your budget and you're going from no computer to that computer, then cool, but don't expect it to be your friend. Like, you're gonna get frustrated with it. It's not going, it'll move great right out of the box. It's gonna be great. It'll start to slow down eventually. Just like I said, like my MacBook did. The next thing I would say to look for is your processor. Like I said, I'm not really familiar with Apple, but going off of just the PCs, the processors, so like i5, i7, i9. This newest one has an i9, but my other one had an i7. So when I actually bought it 5 years ago, i7 was like the cream of the crop, so that was good. I definitely wanted to make sure that it had the best processor. So at the time, so let me just, the stats of my older one that I got about 5 years ago, it has 2 terabytes of hard drive, just regular hard drive though, like the disk. It has the i7 processor, and it has 16 gigabytes of RAM, and I paid about $1,000 for it. So I feel like when I started looking for computers, like, they're very expensive now. Like, it's kind of weird. Like, so finding a computer, even with just the same specs as that computer from 5 years ago, is a lot more money now. And I don't know if that's just they're made better. I don't really know. But to get a decent computer, you probably do have to spend about $1,000. Unfortunately, and that's not even Apple. So plan to spend like $1,500 or $1,800 if you're going for an Apple product with those same specs. So I don't know. It just, again, like I said, I filmed this video a few times because I don't really know a lot about computers. I'm just trying to give you like person-to-person advice. I've used a lot of different computers, and that's just really all I have to, say about it is what I have experience with. I don't know, there's some gigahertz something involved, and I'm not really sure about it, but I did just want to like tell you about my new computer. I think I'm very excited about it. I probably will do like a full review once I have used it for a little while. Actually, this video that I'm filming will be the first video that I even edit on it, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, this wasn't intended to be a what computer to buy video. I just wanted to kind of tell you when I was looking for computers, what I was looking for. I will put in the description the computer that I got and a few different models of it. I did choose this computer because it definitely checked all the boxes. It has great reviews. It's not missing anything, if that makes sense. So that's why it got chosen. There's really I will put in the description box some other computers that I was looking at, and there's not really a reason that I picked this one over the other ones per se. Like, it's just like little things, some things like once you build your computer online and you look at pricing, it kind of breaks it down. I looked at reviews, but I will put some of those other ones that I've looked at as well as this one in the description, so you can kind of get an idea if you are looking for a new computer. But yeah, that's all I have. Again, I didn't really know how to make this video, but I did want to tell you about my new computer. And I know it's something that people are asking a lot of questions about. So if I have to pick one piece of advice to give you about buying a new computer, buy as much RAM as you can, because you can always use an external hard drive if it doesn't come with a lot of hard drive. You can always use an external monitor if the screen is not that great. So there's things you can do. A lot of computers you can add extra RAM to, but it's not, I don't know how to do that, so I'm not really I'm not really up to date on how to do that. I know that it's still kind of pricey, so you might as well just get it all at once. I don't know, but yeah. Okay, I think that's all I have for today. If you got anything out of this video, give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions maybe about anything, let me know in the comments. I will see you in my next video. Bye!